Welcome back to CKY Sports Sunday, and more news from the hockey world. It was looking a little iffy, but Canada has assured itself a berth in the medal round at the World Ice Hockey Championships in Moscow. The Canadians got what they needed and a little extra as they doubled the United States today.
The teams were scoreless until 3 minutes into the second period. Jay Wells passes to Brent Sutter, back to Jim Fox, and Fox lets a wrist shot go that beats Chris Terreri in the American net. 1-0 Canada. Later in the period, Tony Tanti skates in on the right side, passes back to Dave Taylor, and Taylor's pass is tipped past Terreri by Dale Howarchuk. 2-0, and they were happy in Moscow. The Americans got on the board about a minute later. Scott Sandelin's shot from the top of the face-off circle finds its way past Kelly Rudy, 2-1. That's as close as the Americans would get. Brent Sutter scores what proves to be the winner late in the period on the power play. Canada goes on to win it 4-2.
Well, that win, combined with Czechoslovakia's 4-2 loss to the host Soviet Union, means Canada clinches a spot in the medal round regardless of what happens in their final game of round robin on Tuesday against Czechoslovakia. So the standings after 6 games, the Russians on top at 6-0. Thomas Steen, 4 goals yesterday in a romp over Poland. His Sweden team is next with a 5-1 mark. Finland at 4-1, then Team Canada at 3-3. Those 4 teams now look towards the medal round. Canada opens the medal round on Thursday against the Soviet Union, and there you see the remaining teams in the standings. The Winnipeg South Blues' hopes of sipping from the Centennial Cup were washed away today when they bowed out of their Western Interprovincial Tier 2 championship with the Penticton Knights. After being blown out in the first 2 games of the best-of-7 series in Penticton, the Blues felt the pressure at home but came back to win Game 3, but lost Game 4 and were in a do-or-die situation today. They started fast and furious with their star sniper Glenn Kerr netting all 3 Winnipeg South Blues goals today, but the Knights scored 5 goals, and that usually means defeat. The Blues led 2-0 after 1, but the Knights scored 4 in the second. They went on to put out the lights. They now take the series, and it's 4-1. They now advance to the National Round Robin Junior Tournament next week in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. A tough way to go out, but congratulations to Graham James and his band of Blues, who had a terrific season in their own right. And there you see the final: Penticton 5, Winnipeg South 3. It hasn't been a banner start to the 1986 baseball season for last year's American League East Division champions, the Toronto Blue Jays. Many people were wondering, and today they struggled again. The Kansas City Royals put out the light on Dennis Lamp and flattened the Jays 6-4.
It didn't take the Blue Jays long to get things rolling. In the bottom of the first, Charlie Leibrandt serves up a juicy fastball that Lloyd Moseby crunches over the fence in right center field. Mosby's 3rd round tripper of the season, and it was 1-0. Then, with 1 out and men on the corners, Willie Upshaw singled to right field to cash in Cliff Johnson from 3rd. 2-0 Blue Jays after 1. But in the second, Jamie Quirk came to the plate with men on 2nd and 3rd and 1 out, and Quirk lifted a sacrifice fly to center field. Steve Balboni scored from 3rd, and it was 2-1. Later in the inning, Rudy Law ripped one down the first base line that Willie Upshaw couldn't squeeze. Al McRae scored from 3rd, and Law had a double, 2-2. That's the way it stayed until the top of the 7th. The man on 2nd and 2 out, and Willie Wilson singles into left field off Dennis Lamp. Jamie Quirk comes all the way around from 2nd to score. 3-2 Royals. Then after a walk to George Brett, Frank White crunches a Dennis Lamp pitch to left center field. Rick Leach can only watch it sail, a 3-run homer, and it was 6-2 Kansas City. The Jays cut the lead in the bottom of the 8th with the bases loaded and 2 out. Rick Leach smacked a 2-run single to center off Dan Quisenberry, who had come in to pitch for Charlie Leibrandt. Jesse Barfield and Willie Upshaw both scored on the play, but that's as close as they could come as the Royals hang on for a 6-4 victory.
Hard to believe the Jays in the cellar in the American East, but lots of baseball to come. Of course, Dennis Lamp's first loss since September 21st, 1984. He went 11-0 last year. The Royals, by the way, are now 7-5. The New York Yankees played hard to get today against the Milwaukee Brewers, but fortunately it turned out in their favor. The Yanks had what one would think would be a comfortable lead, but saw it slip away, only to put it away in extra innings. And the Yankees jump on top with their speed. Ricky Henderson, slow roller to 3rd base. Mike Pagliarulo scores. Henderson beats the throw. 1-0 Yankees on top. Now top of the 4th. Ken Griffey says goodbye to this ball. He gets all of it. The ball just staying fair for his first home run of the year. 2-0 New York. Bottom of the 6th. The Yankees up 3-0. Jim Gantner will copy Griffey. The long fly ball. This off Joe Niekro, just staying fair. It looks like an instant replay of the last one. Brewers on the board, trailing 3-1. Bottom of the 8th, New York up 4-2. Milwaukee with a running already. Paul Molitor will ground a 2-out single through the left side. The Brewers trailing 4-3 now. Ninth inning, Ernest Wiles will rip a 2-out single off of David Getty. Another Brewer run comes across, and it's a 4-4 ball game. The Brewers have all the momentum, but in the 10th inning, Dave Winfield will step up. He will double to lead off the 10th. Mike Easler then grounds to first. The Brewers misconnect at first. Winfield scores from all the way from second. The throw goes astray. The Yanks win it by a score of 5-4. The Yankees now 7-4, and on top of the AL East, Milwaukee now 5-6. The perennial battle of the Soxes, the hosiery showdown. Boston blasting Chicago today 6-2. Marty Barrett 3 for 3 for the Boss Sox, scoring twice and driving in another. Harold Baines and Ron Kittle with homers, but in a losing cause. The Baltimore Orioles slammed the Texas Rangers 6-1. Eddie Murray with a 2-run homer and a single. Storm Davis with a 4-hitter. The California Angels hovering over Minnesota 8-5. Brian Downing's 3-run homer with 1 out in the 9th was the knockout blow. Tom Bernansky had earlier given the Twins a 5-4 lead in the top of the 9th, belting a solo homer, but they went to lose it. The Oakland A's thumped Seattle by a score of 9-3. And one other game, a rainout, the Detroit Tigers and Cleveland Indians wiped off the slate by the wet stuff. Over in the National League, it's been a rather tough start to a new season for the Montreal Expos, but this afternoon in the Big O, the Expos looked pretty sharp against the hottest team in the majors, the St. Louis Cardinals. It was a tight one, but the Expos managed to avoid a weekend sweep by the Cards. First inning, Jay Tibbs on the mound. Jack Clark cracks this ball to the wall in center. Tommy Hurt tries to score from first, but Vance Law's relay throw is there. Tom Nieto watch him block the plate. He tags her, and you are out of there. Game is still scoreless. It was still 0-0 until the Expos' 8th. Jim Wolford will start the rally, doubling down the left field baseline. Herm Winningham would then come in to run for Wolford. Now, 2 out, 2 on. Tim Wallach comes up with a clutch hit. He rips a double to left field. That scores Winningham and moves Hubie Brooks to third. It's 1-0 Montreal. Jeff Laddie then relieves Ricky Horton on the mound, but he will walk Andres Galarraga and then loads up the bases. Vance Law pokes a single to right. Brooks scores. Wallach was out gunning for home, but it was 2-0 Montreal. That's all they would need. Jay Tibbs went the distance on an 8-hitter. He gets Mike Lavalier to fly out to end the game. The Expos enjoy a good 2-0 outing against the St. Louis Cardinals. So the Cardinals suffer only their second loss against 7 wins early this season. The Expos are now 4-6. Here's a different one. Keith Moreland with a 2-run, 2-out homer in the bottom of the 9th to lift Chicago into an 8-8 tie against Pittsburgh. A tie, darkness prevailed, and Wrigley Field causing a stoppage. They'll redo the game August the 11th. Big day in the Big Apple for the New York Mets. As you saw, they had it all, pitching, power, and performance. And it paved the way to a plastering of the Philadelphia Phillies. For the Mets today, 8 was more than enough. Sunny Shea Stadium, nice afternoon for chocolate ice cream, some natural blondes, and some, well, not so natural blondes. No score, bottom of the first. New York sends 8 men to the plate. Leadoff batter sends a high fly into foul territory. Routine pops sometimes. Right now, here come the guys, and we're going to get this one. Here it is, but not today. The Phillies can't grab it. So with new life, Dykstra comes up again. He'll get another shot, and he takes it, sending it past a Steving and a diving. Geltz right there. He was scoring a Darryl Strawberry sacrifice fly. It was 1-0 Mets. Then with runners at the corners, Danny Heap takes this ball into the bullpen, the long ball. It was 4-0 Mets. They would add 3 more runs in the 6th inning. The closest the Phils came to scoring of Sid Fernandez came in the 5th. Glenn Wilson with the ball to deep center field. Lenny Dykstra will make a beautiful catch coming up right here. As you see the pitch, here's the ball. Now watch Dykstra just run this one down, and he's got it. Beautiful catch. Fernandez would pitch 8 innings with 2 hit ball, and this is how he did it. He will hold it, and he will hold it. You watch, here comes the windup, and he will let it go, and he throws him out. Strikeout number 6. The Mets romp 8-0. So Fernandez gets his first win of the year. Danny Heap leaves the Phils in a heap. The final again, New York 8, Philadelphia Zippo. There you see that darkness game again, Pittsburgh and Chicago. And here's a hot team. The Houston Astros blasted off again today, 6-4 over Cincinnati. Phil Garner, Alan Ashby slamming 4th inning home runs for Houston. In that one, they have won 5 games in a row. If any team has been brutal early on this Major League campaign, it's been the Los Angeles Dodgers. They haven't been able to put anything together. Today, however, things finally started clicking, and the Dodgers dodged a 5-game losing streak by blasting the Atlanta Braves. Dodgers off to their worst start in the 10 years, and even Tommy Lasorda is asking for help. He says, hello, we need some wins. First inning, Ken Landro, who went 4 for 4, started it off. He bangs one to the corner for a double. Enos Cabell scores. It's 1-0 Los Angeles. Next man up is Greg Brock, and this is a Brock buster. He scores Landro and himself goodbye. A 2-run shot. It's 3-0 LA. Mike Marshall will then ground out. Then Mike Scioscia will step up, and he will say, hello, Mr. Rawlings. This is an easy way to run bases. 4-0 Dodgers on a power surge. We move to the 5th inning. Dodgers up 6-2. Orel Hershiser, yesterday's loser, trying some new tricks while watching Bob Welch try to get out of a pickle. Runner on, 1 out, Dale Murphy up, but not for long. Welch bears down, and he will blow one by one of the best hitters in baseball. Next up, big bad Bob Horner, but this one will be down the pipe, paying corner, and the Dodgers go on to the 7-3 victory. So the Dodgers pick up their 4th win of the season. Again, the final 7-3 over the Braves, who suffer their 6th loss. And finally, Vida Blue became the 85th Major League pitcher to win 200 games. The San Francisco Giants completed a 4-game sweep of the San Diego Padres with a 4-0 shutout. Blue's career is now 200 and 153. Pro golf continues to serve up some excitement as each weekend comes and goes. The stop on the PGA Tour this week in the wake of last week's Masters was the Heritage Classic on Hilton Head Island in South Carolina. The first 2 rounds saw Brandon's Dan Halderson streak to the top of the leaderboard, but he faltered yesterday and finished out of the big money. In moved a number of big names who would take the tournament right down to the final hole, and in the end it was the game's most colorful character, Fuzzy Zoeller, adding a touch of drama to the scene and taking home all the marbles.
The final round of the Heritage Golf Classic was a real dogfight with half a dozen players in the running right down to the wire. 3rd round leader Fuzzy Zoeller found himself a shot back, but quickly became co-leader once more thanks to a birdie effort resulting from this excellent tee shot on the par 3 14. Greg Norman had a good round going, and he got a share of the lead by sinking a birdie putt on 15 to move to 7 under. Norman, Zoeller, and Roger Maltby were all tied with 1 hole left, and Chip Beck joined that group with a birdie of his own on 18, making it 4 of them tied. That left Zoeller a 15-footer to win. If he misses, it's a 4-way playoff. But Fuzzy Zoeller nails it all the way, capturing the Heritage Golf Classic title in dramatic fashion.
Nice little jump from Fuzzy Zoeller. Dan Halderson, by the way, had his 2nd straight 76. He finished 10 strokes off the pace. Well, we got basketball coming up, boxing, diving, and curling. As CKY Sports Sunday will continue in 1 minute time.